Hello, everybody. Welcome to and welcome back to my channel, Book Time with Elvis. It's Friday night, and that means some rather wonderful, well, semi-wonderful guests. Our usual lineup. I guess it's not really guests when they're on every week. They're like those kind of house guests that just never leave, really. But hey ho. I'm
regular crew.
I'm happy to welcome back Greg from Another Bibliophile Reads. Alan from Big Hard Books and Classics, and Jim from Mystery and Mayhem. And as always, if you're not subscribed to any of them for any reason, I can't even think why you wouldn't be, but if you're not, head over to their channels and subscribe. So, gentlemen, how are we? And how are we doing in this last week, possibly, of Holmes is Where the Heart Is?
I'm doing good. I didn't do a whole lot of Holmes-related reading, but I did a little bit. Should I just tell him what I read?
Go for it.
Sure.
I read some short stories by Jacques Fortel. I'm not sure about the thinking machine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's definitely influenced by Holmes. And it's about he's older than Holmes. He has no partner like Watson, but he solves a lot of these issues. And my favorite story that I read was the problem of cell 13.
Love it.
He says a thinking man can escape from any prison. So someone takes him up and locks him up. He says, "Treat me as any prisoner. I'll be out in a week." And so it's fun. It does not have that charm that the Holmes stories does. It's very, I'd say it's colder and more distant than Holmes.
Yeah. Very logical.
It is
Very analytical.
It is. Part of it is that the thinking machine does not have a Watson to bounce off of.
That's the brilliant thing Doyle did, was create Watson. You know, how brilliant was that he just humanized what Sherlock Holmes for every reader.
Right. And it's almost always filtered through Watson.
Yeah.
So he could say, "Oh yeah, Sherlock Holmes is like that." So, but in this one, you just get the thinking machine, his cold indifference. But they were interesting, and interesting enough, the author died on the Titanic.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
Jacques Futrell. I've got to show these later, but I've got The Rivals of Sherlock Holmes, and there's a story by Jacques Futrell in this book called The Superfluous Finger. And I love the Jacques Futrell stories. They're so good.
Jim, is that book, is that Hugh Green, as in Graham Greene's brother?
That's I'm not sure, but it's Hugh Green. Yes. I've got this is a second part of a I don't know how many was in the series of this one. I have 3 others called The Rivals of Sherlock Holmes that aren't connected with this one, but this is just a nice Penguin paperback. But yeah, Hugh Green.
I just Googled it, and it is, yeah. So it's Graham Greene's brother, who was also the Director General of the BBC back in the day.
I did not know that. That's awesome.
There you go. There you go. Let me just have a quick look at the comments. Winterland, anybody here? Well, we are. Who are you?
There's some people.
Andrew's here. Hi, Andrew. Good to see
Andrew.
you. Winterland saying hello. Books and Things is here. I've been listening to A Scandal in Bohemia on Magpie Sherlock Holmes YouTube channel. Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Sean's here. Hi, Sean.
Hey, Sean.
Oh, hey, Sean.
Good to see you. And Andrew saying, I've been reading Lord Edgware Dies by Agatha Christie, where Poirot does have his own Watson in the shape of Captain Arthur Hastings. Indeed, indeed.
I want to ask Greg, did you enjoy the story, Greg?
I did.
Yeah.
I had read Problem of Cell 13, 15 years ago. So, and I'd read 2 other stories. The first 2 stories in the anthology. One was just sort of like an introduction to the character, which really did not do much. And then it was A Piece of String.
Yeah, it's been. I had a version. I had a copy
Yeah.
of one of his books when I was a kid, and that's when I first read The Problem of Cell 13. But I don't have that copy anymore, and I forget all the stories. There's only a few I know of right now, like scattered throughout anthologies. I don't really have a collected um, um, book of his stories. I'd like to get one.
Well, the mine was an ebook version.
Okay.
So it's like a 99 cents, or I think I might have got it free one day or something like that. And they
Yeah.
seem to be anthologized in publication order. So I was looking on the internet, say, what are the best thinking machine stories? And I didn't get like a list like you do when you do the Sherlock Holmes. You'll come up with Holmes' 12 favorite. I was looking for a list like that where I could pick out, 3 or 4 stories, just the best. So the
Yeah.
only one they always said is that The Problem of Cell 13 is his most popular one.
Yeah.
Thing is, though, Greg, I have to ask you, how long is a piece of string?
Well, that is a communication where someone's been kidnapped, and a journalist finds a piece of string in a pipe, and the thinking machine goes, "How many knots are tied in the string?" And the guy
What?
says, "2." Says, "Untie one and put it back."
Hmm.
Because he's
That's-
already figured out, just like Holmes, what the whole story is and how to change the events of the crime by untying this little knot. So
I swear Greg was going to say a piece of string's about 195 pages long.
Mark's just being mischievous. He's a mischievous imp, that one.
mhm.
Yeah,
Sure is.
yeah. Greg didn't rise to it. I have a question as well for everybody because I can't remember. And we were saying how good it is that Holmes has his Watson, Poirot has his Hastings. Did Dupin have anybody? Augustine Dupin.
Auguste Dupin.
Dupin, yeah. Did he have any sidekick? I can't.
He had kind of a nameless guy that he talked to, that kind of narrated the stories. I think. I could be wrong. I'm just.
Right, what was it? We did Murders in the Rue Morgue in October with Alan. I don't remember him having a sidekick or anything that would come close to being like a Watson.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll check. Let's check.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna check while you guys talk.
I'll just have a look at the comments quickly, though. Yes, Yanni, I knew it was you as soon as I saw the picture because it comes up quite big on me. So, yeah, I didn't have to be Sherlock Holmes to work it out. It's Yanni, Sean. Readers Retreat. Hello, Mark and panel and chat. Hello there. And Winterland, you are not Katie. Oh yeah, Katie from Books and Things. Yeah. It's she also has a channel called that. Yeah. So, well, I don't know. Alan, do you want to mention what you read while Jim's looking that up?
Yeah, I read and I watched the Butler version of what is it? The Sign of Four. So, yeah, thoroughly enjoyed that. Another cocaine story.
Another cocaine story.
That's not the crux of the story.
Oh no! It starts out like that.
Yeah.
Are you using cocaine or morphine? And then I have I won't go into the story or spoil it. I enjoyed the pygmy aspect of it.
Yeah, I didn't hear your message until this morning, and I was thinking,
I was
serious?
Well, it was late when I sent that. I'm just up from a nap anyway. So
there was a little indignance in that message.
Yeah, it was.
Well, I don't think Doyle probably ever met a pygmy in real life.
Yeah,
I mean, it's probably just something he read about and just said, I'll use that for my story. So,
Could be.
For me, that is one of the most impressive things about these. Excuse me. About these Victorian authors and earlier. Like now, we have everything at our fingertips. We can easily research pretty much anything we want in quite good detail. Do you think all the time that, like, when I think of maybe, I don't know, someone like G.A. Henty or something in his historical fiction novels and stuff for kids, the level of detail, the historical knowledge that he's got, it's all come from the fact that he's sat probably hours and hours in libraries reading these books.
Yeah,
in order
talking to people. Talking to people.
I was going to say, yeah, libraries got well used back in the day. They were essential libraries. Yeah.
I remember it back in the day before cell phones, calling up my librarian as a kid and asking questions. She was my Google.
Oh, I loved my library. I loved going to libraries. Haven't been to one in forever, really, except to use their printer.
Right.
That's all I use it for now.
Yeah, well, me too. I've got a bunch of prints up here. Our library has they don't even charge for prints.
Oh,
yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone remembers this, but back in the late 80s, early 90s, they had reference librarians.
Oh yeah.
You went to the library, they had a reference room, and you can go in and say, I'm looking for information about this subject. And they would help you research. And this is not a huge library. This is just an ordinary suburban library.
Yeah.
Now, this was in Montgomery County, Maryland. So, okay, it's a little bit higher end county, but they had two people. They had two reference librarians.
And then when we interviewed Brian at Bookish on the show, he was talking about microfiche. Remember microfilm? And
remember microfiche?
I was just going to ask you guys if you've ever used microfiche to research anything.
I have, actually, as well.
Yeah. Fascinating. I was researching the Black Dahlia years and years ago, and I went to the library, and I'm using the microfiche, all the old newspapers from the day. It's very cool. It's a hell of a way to research stuff, honestly.
They're not very filling, though, are they?
I remember you had to request like a microfiche film, and then you had to sit and wait for the librarian to go get it for you.
Yeah.
It's just
and you had to really know what you were asking for. You couldn't just go and just do a search and see what comes up. You had to really know what you were going to ask for.
Papers and newspaper stuff and But the Black Dahlia though, that's like my favorite Elroy LA Confidential of the series. I love that.
Good book, good writer. Yeah,
I read that last year. I was going to. Randy and I were supposed to read it together, but he got sidetracked, so I just read it on my own. And it's
fucking
really
dark. James Elroy, he's dark, man. Honestly.
I wanted to mention this Mary Morstan. Is that Holmes was really smitten with her?
Watson.
You mean Watson?
Watson was.
Watson, yeah. He married her.
He married her.
Yeah.
His wife.
Watson marries her. I thought Holmes, I took it the other way.
Well, I think Holmes probably admired her. She was,
But Holmes
there's your pastiche, Alan.
He's smitten with that'd be a good pastiche. But Holmes is smitten with the woman in Copper Beaches. Is that right?
He admired her. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He and that's the story where he I wouldn't want a sister of mine to go work at that house, that home.
Ah.
And he admired her for her feistiness and her strength.
But you don't think he loved her?
No.
Well,
I don't think he ever does really anybody, but
Eileen Adler, maybe.
Okay,
or just really admire her because she outthought him.
Well, admires her, but I don't think he's in love with her.
Well, he kept a picture of her in his desk drawer.
He did.
He did, yeah. That just speaks volumes right there.
Does it though?
Well, Jim, didn't you say there's some pastiche stories where she has his child?
Yeah. Near a Wolf,
isn't it? Yeah.
Near a Wolf is apparently Holmes and Adler's child.
But I was going to say to you, Alan, that could be your idea for a pastiche, is you could write that Mary marries Sherlock and not Watson, and how that fractures their relationship, and nothing's ever the same again. You see, so
yeah.
I'm glad to see that Yanni got my joke when I said it wasn't very filling. So Bill's here. Hi, Bill.
Bill?
Hi, Bill.
Andrew G. I haven't been to the library in years.
Yeah.
MJ's here. Hi, MJ.
Hey,
Oh, hey, MJ.
And Winterland says, I used microfiche to research when people were working and what they earned in the past to calculate their pensions. Not so fun. Blimey. Yeah.
Can be a little dry.
Yeah. No, I had to do a local history project once, and part of the project was to go to the local library and the local historical department, or I don't want to say society, because it was, I think, part of the actual council building, and I had to go through the microfiche and all this stuff, looking on local newspaper articles for certain personalities in the town. So it was interesting.
I'm gonna, while MJ's on, I'm gonna say happy birthday, MJ.
Oh yeah, it was Emery's birthday this week.
Yes. I've got Murders in the Rue Morgue up.
Right.
And apparently there's an anonymous narrator, which is kind of like Watson, that he's narrating Dupin's adventures, but he's nameless. He's kind of anonymous. I don't think he's ever named. I could be wrong, but he does have kind of a Watson. So,
but he's not part of the story either.
No, but he's narrating it, and I'm assuming that he goes along with Dupin because Dupin is talking to him throughout. Yeah, I mean, that's just a cursory look. I mean,
Right.
But I wouldn't call him a Watson. Watson's such a well drawn character, but this anonymous character, friend of Dupin, isn't well drawn out at all. He's just narrating the stories about Dupin.
I've Googled it, and it's funny actually, because there's a Wikipedia entry right below what I'm looking at, and Auguste Dupin has his own biographer actually, and it says Dupin is portrayed as a dehumanized thinking machine, kind of links to what we were talking before. But it says like Holmes, Dupin is accompanied by a rather obtuse sidekick, though Dupin's companion, unlike Dr. Watson, remains nameless.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. Good one, Jim.
There we have it. Alan, continue. Anything else?
Oh no, that's about it for me. I was reading some other things. So,
all right, cool. So, Jim.
Well, I think you and I both, Mark.
Did you
Preston
finish?
John, Whitefire. No, I'm just a little over halfway through, but I've read it before. This is honestly a brilliant book. I like the read through I'm doing now. I'm loving this book, man. Honestly, if you're a Sherlock Holmes fan, this is like one of the best, tributes to that character ever. I love this book, Preston and Child, Whitefire, and they're huge Sherlock Holmes fans.
They're very fast paced and just very readable.
Well drawn out characters. The story's awesome. It's like atmospheric. It's it's kind of it's telling about how Arthur Conan Doyle might have been influenced by a story to write his Hound of the Baskervilles, like a true story. And it's so good, man. I recommend that to anybody who really wants to read a good book, whether you're a Sherlock Holmes fan or not. It's a really good book.
It's a bit violent, though. I'll give a little warning.
Yeah.
Is it good to read? I mean, I've read some of their books, but I have not read the entire series.
Neither have I. I'm kind of working my way through it, and I have to get back to it.
It's my first, and I really like it. So,
all right.
Yeah, it involves cannibalism and people being burned alive.
It's got kind of Donner Party vibe to it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, blimey.
Oh, I feel like I'm in Sherlock Holmes and Jeremy Brett series with that music.
The whole cannibalism thing. It was funny because I'd probably only read about maybe 20 pages when I was telling my mum about it. But
I have to take care of my neighbor's cat this morning.
I told her so much stuff that had happened, and then realized, oh my god, that's only the first 20 pages.
Yeah.
But I like the way that Oscar Wilde is brought in as well.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Oh.
They do the whole dinner with from Lippincott magazine at the Langham Hotel with Oscar Wilde and Arthur Conan Doyle, and
Wow.
just add a little layer to that true story, right?
Yeah.
They're so good, those writers. They do such a good job.
He sounds, because I don't really know much about the background. I know it's a bit off topic, but Aloysius Pendergast, yeah. Other than what I've got from this book, right? So I imagine his backstory is also quite interesting and all the stuff that goes with that. So
they like I'm not too sure where this one falls in the series, but they really get into the character and his background and his wife and his brother, and there's a whole backstory there. It's fascinating, you know.
Definitely going to read some more of them.
Yeah.
Let me just check the comments here. We've got Jim here. Hi, Jim. The other Jim, George and Jim. Sherlock Holmes is inspecting a bed. He says to Watson, "This bed is missing something." Watson replies, "No sheet, Sherlock."
No sheet. No sheet. No sheet, Sherlock.
Oh, dear. So MJ saying, "Thanks to you, Jim." Reader's Retreat loves Whitefire. And Dorothy's had a bit of a revelation.
Oh, they yes, I have. I don't know where it is, but I have a book where it deals with that. I don't know. I know there's more than one pastiche that deals with Nero Wolfe being Sherlock Holmes and Irene Adler's son.
That's not the canon, though. That's not.
It's not canon. It's not canon. No, not at all. You know, but that's
Which
the
canon?
fun.
Sherlock Holmes and Nero Wolfe canon.
Maybe it was implied in the Nero Wolfe stories because I've never read them all. I've only read a few of them. I have a few on my shelf, but I haven't read a lot of them. But I think maybe it was implied by Rex Stout that was the case because he threw all these little Easter eggs into it. You know, that as a detective or, an astute reader, you had to kind of put the clues together. Oh, he's talking about Sherlock Holmes and Irene Adler. Does that mean that he's their son? So maybe it is canon. I'd have to look into that a bit more, but there are pastiche novels out there that actually specifically deal with that. And I don't know them offhand. I'd have to look into that, but I have one or two on my shelf.
Well, it says here, because I have the internet at my disposal here. It says that let's see. So he published 33 novels and 41 novellas and short stories featuring Wolfe between 1934 and 45. And then it says here from Nero Wolfe addressing suspects in 4th of July picnic. He says, "I suggest beginning with the autobiographical sketches from each of us, and here is mine. I was born in Montenegro and spent my early boyhood there. At the age of 16, I decided to move around. In 14 years, I became acquainted with most of Europe, a little of Africa, and much of Asia, in a variety of roles and activities. Coming to this country in 1930, not penniless, I bought this house and entered into practice as a private detective. I am a naturalized American citizen." So I don't know. It doesn't say anything there about Sherlock.
That's a little project for a viewer then. Who wants to get into that?
It comes, it doesn't seem to be Rex Stout's thing though. In 1956, J.D. Clark theorized in an article in the Baker Street Journal that Sherlock Holmes and Irene Adler had an affair in Montenegro in 1892, and Nero Wolfe was the result. The idea was later co-opted by William S. Baring Gould and implied in the novels of Nicholas Meyer and John Lescroart, is it? But there's no evidence that Rex Stout had any connection in mind.
That's the one I have, that last one you mentioned. And of course, on the Wold Newton Universe site, they'll delve more into that, like Win Scott Eckert, who unfortunately we weren't able to get on today, but he'll delve into that on his website. Son of Holmes, that's the one I have on my shelf. But if you go on Wold Newton, I forget the exact, but if you Google Wold Newton Universe, and you go on his site, it talks about all that. It has all the pastiches, all the crossovers, and they'll tell you a bit more about that kind of stuff, that relationship.
Bill says, I have book 7 of the Book of the Dead in the Aloysius Pendergast series. Haven't read it yet because the little free library doesn't provide the series in order.
Yeah, they're highly recommended, man. They're so good.
Sean says, the Oscar Wilde Mysteries are fun by Giles Brandreth. Oscar has his own Watson in the artist Robert Sherrod. Doyle and Stoker are recurring characters.
That's
fun.
Cool.
This is like an accent fest for a hermit in Cornwall. If Sean D and Randy Ray were on board, it would be a mega accent fest.
Well, we're hoping to do a follow-up to the Sherlock Holmes week with Randy when he gets better, and we'll do a follow-up, and we'll do another live stream with and get Randy on. It's unfortunate, he hasn't been able to get on these.
Yeah, I haven't spoken to him today. I hope he's out because I know he had his birthday party planned. I think today as well. So I hope he was able to see that through. So
yeah,
but so we'll have a 1 week special, and perhaps we'll have a special announcement as well. Perhaps so that would be interesting. I suppose I've only read Whitefire and well, not read, I haven't finished, and the second Agatha Christie book, Murder at the Links, Murder on the Links, with Hercule Poirot, because I thought I would. So still haven't finished that either. So I haven't finished anything this week. Terrible.
Yeah, my wife's got COVID, and I'm pretty sure I kind of as a result, I've had it too. So we haven't been really feeling that well this week. I mean, I haven't done a video for over a week now. So I haven't got a lot of reading done either, Mark, to tell you the truth. That's why I haven't finished that book yet.
Yeah, it can be. It can be hard to read, can't it? When you don't feel well. So
yeah.
So, gents, what's your feeling about how this has gone and revisiting, certainly in the case of Greg and Jim, revisiting such beloved works, and Alan, in your case, maybe discovering some of them for the first time? Let's start with Alan, because the whole thing's been fairly new for you. So I think it would be really interesting to get your take. But Alan, before you start talking, you might have to take yourself off mute.
Thank you. Yeah, I put myself on mute so you don't have to hear me drinking and slurping and
slurping,
but grunting yeah, I just really appreciate the education. I've mentioned before. It was uncanny. Talking about free libraries, my local library, they had edition of Volume 2. You can see the library sticker right there. It was free. I picked it up before Greg even mentioned you guys were like doing a thing about it, and I'd never read Sherlock Holmes, so I just picked it up, and lo and behold, then I got my Volume 1. So I've been doing a deep dive this month, and I can feel my brain cells like expanding when I read Doyle. I'm going to read some nonfiction as well. I've got a book coming about Doyle, and
nice.
Are you sold on him, Alan? Are you?
Oh yeah.
Looking forward to next year, and
I want to dig more into like Houdini's relationship with Doyle too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me. Actually, I thought I said it in the chat, but I didn't. I think I said it only to Jim. But we discussed last week whether or not there could be a pastiche where Dupin and Holmes meet. And looking in the big book of Sherlock Holmes stories by Otto Penzler, of course, there's already one there. So.
Of course.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And Greg pointed out there's one with Houdini too, and I forget the name of the author.
Dan Simmons.
No,
No,
that
that's-
it's a collection of
You
Yes.
posted it on Voxer. I think.
yes, it was a self-published
it
pastiche.
was like number 16 or something.
Yeah,
But
something like that.
You know,
Yes.
if there's a character in fiction back then, you know, Sherlock Holmes has met him in some
Mhm.
pastiche or another.
That's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just having a quick thumb through to see if I can find it. Oh yeah, that's the time. Yeah, what about your new acquisition, Jim? Have you got it there? You can show us your magazine.
oh, the Life
Oh,
magazine.
yes. Yep. Yeah, the Life magazine. Yeah, that's a reissue. So I picked it up the other day because I mean I had to have it. I might even have it elsewhere when it was printed before, but I just love that cover.
Yeah.
Basil Rathbone, that's like so iconic, you know. And
Yeah,
there's
That's the one, isn't it?
what's that? Houdini?
Blur.
Yeah, that was what Greg posted.
Yeah.
It's too blurred. Sherlock Holmes and the Houdini Birthright by Val Andrews. But that's pretty cool. So you said it's got some pictures in it, Jim.
It's got some awesome stuff in here. It's such a, you know, it was worth the money. It was $18 expensive, but you know, there's just stuff in here that, you know, I've got the info and other books and stuff. It's just nice to have it together in a magazine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
collectible.
There we go.
Oh man, I love that.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, there's some pictures here I haven't seen before. So yeah, and it goes on about Doyle and it goes on about the character and the stories. That's from his last spell. I don't know what the thing is with the rooster there. But
Is it cockfighting or something in it? Or?
oh, I've forgotten. I got such a bad memory, which is a good thing because then when I reread a story, it's like rereading it for the first time again.
Yeah.
And there's Arthur Conan Doyle with the fairies and the spiritualism that he loved so much at the end.
Photography. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So it's yeah, if you can still get this at the store, it's kind of worth it. I thought it was worth picking up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was just looking in your background, Jim, and I was going to say to you, what's that book with the map on the front? And then now I look down and look up again and I can see it's Batman. But the first time I thought it's a map with some kind of
right here.
Yeah. My first I was like, oh, there's like an atlas book or something. What is that? And then look down and look up. Oh, it's Batman.
That's Batman. And he fits in with this week's prompt. I mean, he was inspired by Sherlock Holmes to a certain extent because he's the Dark Knight detective, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he uses analytical deduction to figure things out. So, you know,
and he has a Watson.
And yep.
Always remind me as a kid that there was a joke, and I'll probably get in trouble for it, but it used to be. So apologies if anyone from Liverpool is watching. Liverpool in England, it used to be a joke was what's the difference? People from Liverpool we call Scousers, by the way, in England. So what was the joke between? What was the difference between Batman and a Scouser? And the idea was that Batman could go out without robbing, i.e., stealing. You have to know that that's a famous one. I'm sure the English people watching will get me, as long as none of them are from Liverpool, and then they'll be after me. We've got a few more comments here. The Mild Rumpus is here. Hello there.
Hello.
I managed to squeeze in A Study in Scarlet this month. Not going to lie, not my favorite book, but definitely will not be my last Sherlock Holmes novel. I wish I'd started with Hounds of the Baskervilles.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he says, I've been listening to Steve Donohue's reading Hound of the Baskervilles. His reading is like a pastiche in its own right.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
And Sean says Sherlock Holmes teamed up with Lord Greystoke thanks to Philip Jose Farmer.
Oh.
Yeah, The Adventure of the Peerless Peer.
And where's the other one? I've liked these Sherlock Holmes where the heart is live streams. They've reintroduced me to Sherlock Holmes and pastiche novels. Looking forward to reading Hugh Ashton's and Craig Stephen Copeland's. Wonderful.
Oh.
Wonderful. Yeah, I have to say, me too, though. I mean, I was a pastiche virgin when it
was
came
I?
to Holmes.
Well, not quite. But we did do the Michael Chabon, which we keep forgetting about. That
Yeah,
was
okay.
the
So I
Sherlock
wasn't.
Holmes story.
True, I wasn't. I had
But
done one.
it's not traditional Holmes. It's very different.
Mm.
It's a totally different feel than him, like in the 7% Solution,
Hmm.
which was one more traditional, like Sherlock Holmes story.
Yeah.
Of course, in
Yeah,
this one, he was at 90 something. So
Yeah.
You talking about the Parrot book?
the Parrot
Yeah.
book.
Yeah, I
The Final
read it on
Solution.
the ebook. Yeah, I was thinking I had a copy of it.
Alan, you're letting yourself go. Usually, we say a book, and whoosh,
You just grab it off the shelf.
you could do that Harry Potter thing or the Jedi thing where it just can come to you.
I wish. I
Oh.
wish.
Yeah. What was it called? It was called The Final Solution, wasn't
It's
it?
called the Final Solution.
The Final Solution.
We all mentioned it was like that's not the best name, but
Well, it didn't
No.
work.
it
Jewish
did.
refugee, the boy.
Well, yeah. Shaban was Jewish, so
And the boy was in the book, I think.
Yep.
Rightly. So, yeah, it could work. Could work. Thank you, Andrew, for getting it, though maybe not amused. And Yanni, Batman and Robin episode. Yes, classic. Absolute classic. I don't think you guys would have got that show in America, probably. So, and definitely Greg wouldn't have watched it, even if you did.
now, when was it? Depends on when it was shown. I mean, I quit TV.
80s would have been when it started, and then it probably finished after like some breaks. It would come back for specials in very early 2000, if that. So
Yeah, you see, I threw in the towel on TV in the late 90s is when I really just quit.
Yeah. I used to have a bumper sticker that said, "Kill your television." I had it on my Mazda RX-7. And I happened to work at Motorola at the time in Arizona. They kind of frowned upon that, but
hey Lou, good to see you.
hey, Lou.
Hey.
Hello.
Yeah, I mean it's been great.
I've really enjoyed it. I mean, I really hope we do it again next year so we can.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think so many people have just gotten into this. Like I still get videos from other booktubers coming up that I've never seen before or heard of, and they're referencing the Holmes is where the heart is, or the tag that you guys did. So many people are just reading it for the first time. I think it's been fantastic for that.
Yeah, I haven't done the tag yet either. I think I'm prepared to do it now, but yeah, it's been quite the education.
Yeah, I did it. That was a difficult book tag. It was pretty comprehensive.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't want it to be just because just
Sherlock
Holmes.
Well,
Right?
I don't remember anything really that Sherlock Holmesian. It was just general tag,
Right, but I didn't get the references at first, but now I do.
Mm. It's funny because I think Roy Reads Anything just released a video.
I was going to say, I just watched it before it came on. Yeah.
I only just started the beginning, and I loved it when he says, like, I was finishing my PhD, and you just hear his wife in the background go, "Yay!"
I love their videos. I actually liked it and commented real quick. He just, and he loves Sherlock Holmes. You can tell, and he gets right into it, Such a good video.
We'll have to get him in on this next year then.
I'd love to.
But here's the thing is, what's our next project?
Well, we have something in the pipeline. I don't know if Sean's still watching.
Did you talk to Sean about that?
Sean, I didn't get a clear answer on that, so maybe you can say yes or no in the comments.
He's still here.
Yeah,
he's still there.
If Sean gives me a yes in the comments, I guess we can announce it. So,
about the.
Yeah, about the
well,
but we are going to be back next week, regardless. Anyway, with a kind of Sherlock Holmes bonus discussion, and say some other kind of little Holmesian announcement sorts.
Yeah, it is March Mystery Madness too, right? So mystery it falls right into place.
Yeah,
I guess it would be. Let me check my calendar.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? It's almost March. I mean, I cannot believe it.
Yeah.
where is the time going?
Yeah, March 1st.
Yeah, well, that works well then. That works out well, and it'd be good. Okay, so we can go ahead. He doesn't like the name, but I suppose we could. He doesn't think it rolls off the tongue as well as the previous version. And
Definitely off the tongue.
maybe he's right, but
Well, it had to tie in with February, right? And Valentine's Day.
Sorry, he means the announcement.
The next
event.
project.
Oh, I see. Okay.
This is based off another one that was in a different month where it maybe worked better, but
the problem is that month is
too busy.
Too busy.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm hoping Sean's going to join us as a co-host on this one as well if he's up and running again. But Greg, you announce it.
Okay. The working title is April of Adventures or Adventures in April. Do you decide?
Adventures in April sounds like some kind of dodgy movie from the 70s.
It does.
Yeah. With Marlo Thomas or something. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah.
Now take
Which I'm okay with. I'm okay with.
Adventure. It's April of Adventure.
Yeah.
Well,
April of Adventure, which if anyone's watching, if they remember an event that Sean and I did probably 2 years
21.
ago. We didn't, was it?
Because you announced it in the first year of Garbogist, and it just it just got overwhelmed.
Well, we had a small crew. I mean, some people did, but you are right. I think because a lot of people, even Ollie himself said at the time that there were some things he wanted to read, but obviously he was busy with that. But yeah, we did it in August back in 21. 21, yeah? Was it 21?
21.
Unbelievable.
First year of August.
And it was August of Adventure. And it was great fun, but quite small event. And as Greg says, got lost in the kerfuffle of Garb August. And there was something else as well, I think. Because I know Gareth also tried to launch his own event then as well, which was Audible August, which was about music-related books, right? Not Audible, the thing. See, of course, he then went on and I think moved it to like March or something. Yeah, sorry.
I think people should still go ahead with events they want to do. Right. There's going to be more and more. And if somebody's doing something else, it doesn't matter. There'll be somebody interested in your event that you want
Absolutely.
to do. And if you have enough hosts, go for it, man.
A lot of people aren't interested in Garbogist, so
some people aren't.
To be honest, I think that was part of the reason Sean and I did it, because we weren't so much into it, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't because for me, I don't know about Sean. I can't speak for him, of course, but I've never really read garbage, or maybe I have, but I haven't considered it garbage. So I think it was a case of just not, and plus because of where I'm living, I guess ebooks I probably could have gone down that road, but because of living here, I haven't got the access that you guys have to it. I can't just go to the local charity shop and pick up a $1 paperback or whatever. And I didn't really know what I was looking for because I've never been into it. We were discussing doing some projects, and he's like, we know we love, and some people might consider some of the books garbage related to do with some of these pulpy adventures or whatever. But yeah, we went for it. So
I was talking in my community. We have a romance writer, and I was mentioning about like Garbogist, and some people read romance. And she almost blew her stack.
Really? Oh boy!
Because she thinks very highly of romances as being one of the most important genre types that you can have in publishing, and in some way, she's correct.
She's entitled to that. Yeah.
I'm going to read some Jackie Collins this Garbogist, and then I'm going to read this book. Check out this book.
There you go.
Angels. Well, there you go. Wonderful.
Came recommended. Well,
I'm going to read Greg's publishing debut of Adventures in April. I think that's going to be great fun in August.
I'm not publishing anything in April.
Well, in August, a lot of people's time is taken up by Faulkner in August. Just saying.
Oh yeah, that's the other. Sorry, absolutely right. And Alan, you never got the joke. It was a joke that Sean and I were trying to play on you, and then Sean obviously had his issue with the house, and I went ahead and did it myself, where I did Faulkner in August, but you never responded.
I didn't what? You did a video on it?
Yeah, I did. I was announcing Faulkner in August, but it was Faulkner, Falkner.
Oh,
Who's the what's his name?
Peter Falk.
No, John Mead Faulkner, is it?
oh,
He wrote Moonfleet. So because I was still trying to do a one-man band of August of Adventures, I thought Moonfleet would work as an adventure book, but it's done by Faulkner, and we thought it'd be funny to have it Faulkner in August as it doesn't matter. It's never funny when you have to explain it, but I just wanted to check the comments. Sorry.
Hey, I cut my teeth on trashy novels. Just saying.
Yeah, but
if you publish something, I don't care if it's literature, if it's trashy novels, if you've had it published, you've written it, you've put the work in it, you've had it published. I think that's an amazing thing.
Well, even if you haven't written it, Jim, even if you stole it from somebody else, slapped your name on it, and uploaded it to Amazon, is also a wonderful thing.
It sounds like you're speaking from experience, Mark.
Might be.
Always working.
But what have we got here? Andrew stopped watching TV in 2016. Stephanie says YouTube is my TV. The same for Lou.
I just off David Letterman, but go ahead.
Sean wants to join us for next time with Sherlock Holmes is where the heart is, because by then he should have unpacked all his Sherlock Holmes material.
Wow. Bet you have a lot, Sean.
Oh, I bet he does as well. Reader's Retreat. I've been a Holmes fan since I was 6. I'm now 61. Still love reading. But what do you think? What do you all think of the rivals of Holmes?
I brought them out especially for this. I've got 2 big Castle volumes, The Rivals of Sherlock Holmes, The Rivals of Sherlock Holmes 2, and these have characters like Miss Loveday Brooke, Martin Hewitt, Dr. Halifax, Madame Sarah, the old man in the corner. I love these. And for the most part, I don't know if that's the case with all of them, but when Holmes died, there was, people were hungry for this kind of stuff. And all these characters started being written and coming out, and I love these. I love reading these stories. So yeah, I'm a fan, and I've got this one here is more, it's called The Rivals of Sherlock Holmes, but this was more characters that inspired Doyle. So it's got stories by Edgar Allan Poe, Charles Dickens, Emile Gaboreau, Wilkie Collins. These are all ones that came out before Sherlock Holmes and were possibly inspirations for Arthur Conan Doyle. So yeah, just great stuff. Just great stuff.
I'm curious, Jim, though, we're just joking about Sean having a lot of stuff, but do you have a rough idea how many how much Holmes-related reading material you actually own? Hundreds?
Yeah, I'd say so. I've never actually counted them, but I've got a whole, wall to ceiling or floor to ceiling bookshelf full of Sherlock Holmes stuff, and then other, throughout my other bookshelf, stuff about Sherlock Holmes or, Sherlock Holmesian stuff, and the canon. I've got so many different copies of the canon. So yeah, I've never actually sat down and counted them, though. But honestly, I've been collecting this stuff since I was like 13, 14 years old when I first, read Sherlock Holmes.
I thought that was some kind of Los Angeles gangland Holmes pastiche there, where you're going to be like Sherlock Homies.
Homies. Well, that's what we are. Are we the Holmes boys? The Homies?
I just came up that on the spur of the moment. I said, "Oh, wait a second, that's pretty good."
Yeah, I like it.
Lou, yesterday I downloaded a couple of pastiches that Jim mentioned in a video. My Dear Mr. Holmes and the Private Lives of Sherlock Holmes. Excited to give them a go.
Oh, nice. Yeah. See, and I keep getting people like that saying that. Oh, I picked up this book on your say-so, or I'm reading this, and I just think that's amazing. So many people on your channels too, probably. You know,
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think it's amazing.
It's been really nice.
Yeah.
Gob August, yeah. Bill says no one's joined me in my read all John le Carre project. But did you announce it as an event, Bill, where people can join in? Because I think quite a few people sometimes have solo projects going on in the background.
Yeah.
You know, I have.
Le Carre has actually a lot of books.
Who?
Le Carre has a lot of books that he published.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
I mean,
And we just did Dr. November, and we read The Spy Who Came In from the Cold.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my local bookshop, my local online book retailer was selling on sale a load of the Eric Amblers. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So I picked up a few, and that I think I'm going to look into him for Dr. November this year. This year, it's crazy to say this year.
Yes, this year we are doing Dr. November again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I bought a few books in expectation of doing Dr. November again this year.
But it's this time it's not limited to the Cold War. It's any espionage.
Any espionage, anytime, any place.
Good. I want to read a little nonfiction for that this time around.
I did one nonfiction.
I did 3.
Ben McIntyre about the woman who was the spy for the Soviet Union.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, Sonia or something? Sonia?
Something like that. Not something like that.
Agent Sonia.
Agent Sonia. Not Red. Red Sonia is our Robert E. Howard.
Yeah,
Red Sonia's Jim's not so secret crush.
Oh, really? I got a few on my wall here of pictures of her. So, yeah.
Let's see. Stephanie says every community has a romance writer. Yeah. I met le Carre. He lived along the cliff. Let's see. Yanni, how do we get your books, Mark? I've not done ebooks yet. How do I buy one? I'll tell you later, Yanni, how to do that, because I'm not so sure. I'm a bit nervous because if they're really rubbish, people are going to know it's me. So I'm going to try and keep it secret. But it's not. I haven't written it. I've just stolen somebody else's. Sorry, Jim. Show us what you're going to show us.
No. You go ahead. This is one of the spy books I got called The Irregulars by Roald Dahl, and it's got like Ian Fleming there, and so that's what I want to read for Dr. November this year. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt what you were saying.
No, it's all right. I just get these in here. What we got? Grab August, books about kleptomaniacs. That would be good, wouldn't it?
Grab August.
Or grab August, books about wormy-looking things.
Ooh, this is giving me idea. Send Ollie is that one of his prompts should be to modify the name of the like you have Grab August, Gob August, or something else. Just have fun with the name. Never mind.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fun. That and June on the Range.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say, even though it's not one of my own, it was until recent ones my favorite booktube event.
You read Lonesome Dove, Lonesome Dove.
But I'd never read westerns before June on the Range came out. I don't think I'd ever read one. And then, I loved, with the exception of you'll know these, Jim, the Lucky Luke comics. The Lucky Luke. I've never read it. I used to watch westerns, but I never read any. And I got so into them.
You've never read a western at all?
Until the first year of June on the Range, yeah.
Really? Wow.
I think.
One of the first books, adult books I read, it's foggy as I get older, but Louis L'Amour, The Ferguson Rifle, and I love that book, and that just got me into, I've got most of the Louis L'Amour novels. I think I'm only missing maybe 4 or 5 of them now. Wow. And I've got a whole bunch of vintage westerns on my shelf, and there's some great writers, western writers.
Stores often have tons of westerns.
Yeah.
I picked up a lot of Louis L'Amour. I don't think I picked up like maybe 20, and that's going to be enough to last me. I don't think I need any more.
People tend to hold on to their Louis L'Amour books. Like they're harder to find now because when people get them, they hold on to them. You know,
I've got a few. I'm going to read this June. Lamar.
you know, I mean, people could say that he was a formulaic writer, you know, which can be a good thing and a bad thing. But I mean, when people read a Louis L'Amour Western, they want certain things to happen in that book, you know,
Right.
and that's part of the appeal of it. But then he branched out as well. He did, you know, he did historic adventures, and he did a spy thriller, the Last of the Breed. I mean, he was a good writer. He was a storyteller, and I really enjoy Louis
Well,
L'Amour.
he's a good storyteller. I'm not so sure about being a good writer sometimes.
No.
'Cause
Well, good storyteller, yeah.
he wasn't overly impressed with the writing, but
Well, I enjoy his writing. I think he was a good writer. He was from the pulp days, you know.
I do think sometimes he's a little bit what's the word? You know, the westerns of his I read I really like. I think I read the first two Sackett books.
Yeah.
And I wasn't overly impressed. But I think sometimes, you know, maybe I got a sense of him just doing it formulaically rather than like with some of the westerns I really, really enjoyed them. So,
Well, he knew what people wanted, you know. So yeah, he tended to, like I said, he tended to do formula westerns, but that's what people wanted. That's what people asked of him. I mean, Hondo was a really good book. Flint was one of his good ones. Yeah, I mean, there's ones that stand out, and there's ones that, you know, not so much. They were just written, you know, for the audience because that's what they wanted. But
Hondo's a funny one because it's a novel. It's a
We
was
did
a
a
short-
group read, Mark, with
it was a short story called "The Gift of Cochise."
but Hondo the book's a novelization of the film, which was a filmed version of the short story "The Gift of Cochise."
Yeah, that's exactly it. And of course, back in the day, they didn't really say that. You know, John Wayne had the blurb that said, "Oh, Hondo is one of my favorite stories," but that's not how it worked. It was a short story. The movie was based on the short story, and then Louis L'Amour wrote the full novel, kind of based on his short story, which was based on the movie. So it's a little complicated, a little complex, but still very good story.
Before I get back to the comments, I do have a Western question for you, and I'd be surprised if Greg and Alan have read him, and I wouldn't be surprised if you have, Jim. Do you know an author, a Western author called J.T. Edson?
I've heard of him.
I do. I have a few on my shelf.
Yeah,
very right wing kind of. He's not exactly in you know, politically correct now, but yeah, I've got some on my shelf.
Yeah, because it was the Floating Outfit was his big long kind of series book.
Dusty Fog, the Dusty Fog outfit or whatever. Yeah.
You see, I read a couple of them. I quite enjoyed them, but the funny thing was because I was actually my dad like recommended it. I didn't come across anything any more politically incorrect than any of the other books, so I don't.
Yeah, it's all yeah.
But the interesting thing about him is that he's English.
Yes, a lot of them were.
Not even American.
Like the guy who wrote the Edge series, George Gilman. I think he was British too.
He was, and he had never read a Western before he wrote that book.
Yeah, and there's more than just those two. Like a lot of Western writers were British writers, and they were writing about this American, you know, legendary kind of thing, and they got it for some reason. I guess because they were fans, and they just knew what people wanted.
Well, George Gilmore said that he had watched a Clint Eastwood Western.
Yeah.
That's the right one.
It could be. I didn't hear that, but that makes sense because
that was in my ebook edition, which was not the original publication. That was a publication after the series was actually completed, and they reprinted it.
Okay.
They had an introduction from someone and say, "This is how the book came to be."
Huh. Interesting. I didn't know that. I've got a couple. I've only read a couple of them. Gilman, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're very much like The Man with No Name, kind of Clint Eastwood movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they mention him here, George G. Gilman. That's
Gilman. Right. Yeah, and he was a British dude.
Yeah, born and bred in Essex. Yeah, and dies in died in Doncaster. But this
Yeah.
J.T. Edson as well. It says he wrote 137 westerns,
Oh boy.
and adventure books, and police procedural novels.
Yeah.
And he wrote from the 1950s through till 2005 when he retired due to ill health, and he still died 9 years later in 2014. So anyway,
They were very prolific, those guys. I mean, there's a guy, what the hell, his name escapes me now, Clay Allison or something, but he had about maybe 5 to 10 different pseudonyms, and he wrote westerns and police novels and all kinds of stuff under these pseudonyms, but he just cranked them out.
Some authors can, Michael Moorcock, who's a science fiction author, mentioned he could write one of those thin novels in a week.
Really?
He kept knocking them out.
I like Michael Moorcock. I like his stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was watching like How to Write a Short Story on YouTube by this English guy, and he mentioned that Conan Doyle would knock out a short story in a day. And the guy was saying, well, I like to think I'm pretty fast, but the fastest I can do it is in a week. Whereas Doyle would knock out a short story, mind you, just in a day. So
that's amazing. Wow.
But what else have they got to do in those days, right? I mean, it's not like Doyle's going to be distracted by his mobile going off or something on the radio.
Probably get out in his head first too.
It makes you wonder, like, without TV, without the distraction of internet and your cell phone, it just wonders what potential is lost in so many people because they just,
This just sucks down time.
Yeah.
It says how many hours a day you spend looking at this. Now, part of it also is I listen to my audiobooks on this, so that may count towards my time on the phone, even though I'm not really watching the phone.
Right.
Okay, back to the comments. So Michael's here. Bookless Pete, have you read any Solar Ponds, the pastiches by Auguste Derleth? It has been brought up before, but don't apologize. It's good to keep them in people's
next year.
I got the whole series.
I'll try to get one.
Yeah, because it's Randy's favorite, isn't it? So
yeah, he brings them up a lot. I know there's more now, but I've got all the August Derleth ones and all the Basil Copper ones in paperback. But I think Randy said some other authors, like they're continuing on with the series, and there's some other author writing them now, but I'm not sure. But they're good. I enjoy them. They're really good.
Yeah, I need to give them a go next year. Hannah's here. Sherlock Holmes, yes. Stephanie Moriarty's an anagram of I am Rotary, which is a fun rabbit hole I fell down a few months back. Bill says Dr. November's when I started the Le Carre project. 1 per month makes it a 2-year project. I'd like to see Sherlock is my Holmes boy on a t-shirt. Well, there you go. We probably need to stick out some Sherlock Holmes merchandise, don't we?
There's a t-shirt shop that basically
if we thought this out properly, we could have done that. We could have had a whole bunch of Sherlock Holmes merchandise out now. Next year we'll do that.
I got another one as well. Look, because I've just been inspired by, I guess, the little leprechaun thing in Alan's background. We could have Sherlock Gnomes.
Yeah.
A little Sherlock.
I could draw a nice T-shirt up, man, or a mug design. I could design something, no problem.
Awesome.
And we got to think this out properly next go around.
Definitely. Dorothy, books and things, good one. How about Carb August, books about baked goods? Yeah, that would be pretty good.
Yeah, I'm all about the carbs.
You could have Barb August, books written by only people called Barbara.
Or the never mind.
What were you gonna say?
A barb is something sharp, so you have a poignant barb.
Could be about exactly. Yeah. We're all sitting trying to think now of different things like this. I enjoyed January. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't do it last year. I'm really looking forward to this year.
Guessing Reader's Retreat is referring to
Louis L'Amour.
Probably, yes. Love a play on words. E.C. Tubb was British as well. He also wrote westerns.
Yes. What were the names he used? I just was looking that up. I actually went through all my books and I wrote down a whole bunch of Western authors that I have. And E.C. Tubbs was, did I have him on here? I forget. But I got so many on here. There's so many, Ralph Compton, Owen Wister, Harry Sinclair Drago, Clarence E. Mulford, who did the Hopalong Cassidy novels, Ernest Haycox was another popular one. Wayne D. Overholser, Giles A. Lutz, so many. The list goes on and on.
William Johnson.
What's that?
William Johnson.
Yeah. I didn't put William Johnston down. I have some on the shelf, but I think I've only read a short story. But then
he's one that I want to pick up. He's massively popular. I think his son took over in his name.
That's Terry Johnstone, right?
I don't remember. I mean, if you look at at least I have a used bookstore. They have a Western section. There's just a whole shelf.
Or is it a daughter? I thought it was his daughter.
It could be. I don't know. Someone helped. So as he aged, he had someone take over.
Yeah. And
I think Sean would appreciate the E.C. Tubb one because when I Googled him, and it says people also searched for, it says John Russell Fern, Murray Leinster, Sidney James Bounds, and Clifford D. Simak. And apparently his most famous work, Tubbs' most famous work, is the Dummerest saga, an epic science fiction saga set in the far future.
Nice. I love Simak.
But the really bizarre thing is, looking at these guys, obviously writing westerns is good for you because, this Tubb bloke died at 90. The Terry Harknett guy died over 80. And J.T. Edson died, 86. So they do pretty well. So to be British and write westerns is obviously a secret to longevity.
Yeah.
I live in Colorado, but I write Irish fairy stories. Brilliant.
That's awesome. That's cool.
A British person can only write Western super merons. Moriarty is also an anagram of Oi Martyr.
Oi.
Sean, they also had servants, etc., to do everything, including wiping their ass. Sure, you could churn out lots of writing. Yeah. So I was wondering where that was coming from for a second there. Stephanie, your writing sounds lovely. Irish fairy stories. Do you sell your stories? I'd buy one. Carb August is great.
Yeah.
Don't forget to boot the like button. Thanks, Jim. And Simak apparently also wrote some westerns. I didn't know that.
Oh, neither did I.
Neither did I.
He was quite the writer.
Yeah, Sean loves him. It's Sean's big man crush. Yeah, for sure.
Well, that's understandable.
Yeah. In fact, I think if you love him, you should be in on this this reading thing he's got. I think it's next month, isn't it, Sean? I'm waiting for him to reply. They're doing a group read of City in March.
Oh, no. Yeah. I think I saw that on his channel.
Yeah. I'm giving it a go, and I never read science fiction, so
Well, science fiction is like anything else. I mean, it's not just it speaks to more than just there's different types of science fiction too. So for somebody to say they don't like science fiction, well, then you don't like fiction, because it speaks to about more than that. And there's hard science fiction and soft science fiction and Edgar Rice Burroughs types.
I know you science fiction purists will get into the semantics about the SFs and the sci-fi and the science fiction. What I meant to say was, Jim, apologies, was I don't read books about aliens. And I know that's not, but if it's time travel, yes, of course, that's science fiction.
But Mark, we are the aliens. But if you think about mystery, how many different types of mystery there are? There's cozy mystery and noir mystery, hard-boiled mystery, and there's something there for, you might not like mystery, but there's something in there for somebody to like,
No, you're absolutely right. And I have some of the ones I read because I gave it a go. I think 2 years ago, maybe for New World's November, and I had a good time. What I mean is, it's not my go-to.
Yeah,
Especially when it
I
involves
understand that.
like spaceships and stuff. I don't know, but then saying that, I do like H.G. Wells, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And some of the older stuff. It's just that maybe these more kind of
The really good science fiction talks about society and what's what's currently going on in the world, and kind of give it that kind of sci-fi swing to it.
yeah. No,
Now, like Mark, I was going to point out a science fiction novel I really like is The Body Snatchers by Jack Finney.
Oh yeah.
It was
Yes.
filmed as Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but it was written in the 50s, and that book is really, I think, about the Red Scare.
Yes. Yeah.
About
You're absolutely right.
who's a communist.
Yeah, like read John W. Campbell's Who Goes There. They made the movie The Thing based on that story, and that speaks to something that was made people anxious back in the day.
Yeah.
There's so many good sci-fi and fantasy writers too. Like you could say it about any genre of fiction.
Yeah.
Well, it's also
Right.
something I don't read a lot of, actually, is fantasy too, actually. I think it's just, you get into, I wouldn't say like a rut, but you get into a kind of groove of what you read sometimes, and you want to devour so much of that it's almost not a fear, but it's like, oh, well, what if I waste time reading something that's a bit outside my comfort zone?
Yeah.
BookTube has really pulled me out. Like, as I said, I read Westerns for the first time. And I read Jane Austen for the first time, thoroughly enjoyed it.
I have to read Jane Austen. I've never read her.
I tried Jane Austen last year. Just not my thing.
Really?
Did you try?
I did Persuasion.
I did Pride and Prejudice. Really liked it. Northanger Abbey, also liked it. And I think this year I'm going to give Emma a go.
Well, the problem with Jane Austen is she's very subtle. It's comedy of manners, I guess. It's like all your different relationships and how you interact with people, and But I just didn't get for. I mean, part of it was my wife made me watch the movie version a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
I saw it in my head, and that my wife loves that movie, and I'm just going like, this is just torture.
I have a complete
Jane Austen.
Jane Austen collection, unread. Mark does too. I've read Persuasion, and I've read Pride and Prejudice and reviewed it. I've even read Sense and Sensibility. I don't know. I'm a sucker for a good romance.
It's okay for somebody, to say, I want to expand my horizons and read more different things. But sometimes, you also look at it, okay, there's too much. I just want to stick to what I love. And that's okay too. If all you want to read is PI novels, or all you want to read is Conan stories, I think that's okay too, because otherwise sometimes you're spread too thin. I don't know. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
And if somebody just wants to read romance, I think that's awesome too.
I like experimenting. I mean, I said Jane Austen was an experiment, and I'm glad I did it. It just did not work for me.
Yeah.
In my building likes romance. They just dropped off like 3 big boxes of romance books.
Harlequins or
Nora. What's her name? Nora Roberts.
Nora Roberts.
Yeah, and Sandra Brown. I recognize a lot of names. I didn't pick any up, but they're gone.
They're popular, man. Honestly.
Well, I did my first reading of a full book on YouTube, obviously throughout the whole month of July. But I chose to do Pride and Prejudice because I said to myself, if I start this and I read it aloud on my channel, I'll have to finish it, right? Probably.
Yeah.
So I did it, and then I actually really enjoyed it. I got to the point where I looked forward to actually, coming back to it each day, and uploading my recording and finding out what happens next. And there was, genuinely funny moments in it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I like recordings, Mark. I thank you again. Mark did a recording on my request for a James Joyce story. Was it Evelyn?
No, the 3 guineas or 3 coins or.
Oh no, the 2 gallants.
Yeah, 2 gallants. That's right.
Oh, that's a great story about yeah. Mark read that for me for like my Joyce.
It was fun. This will be St. Patrick's Day soon, won't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next month.
Comment City in March.
I might be able to put City on my reading list for March.
I've got more of his fantasy novels on my shelf. I'm assuming City's more of a sci-fi novel. So I might have to pick that up. I see it on the shelves all the time.
I think City's a collection of short stories masquerading as a novel.
Oh.
Sean could come in and correct me on that one.
Okay.
Where are we? The only sci-fi I've read this year is Starship Troopers. I've been reading a lot more police procedurals. The Mild Rumpus says, I think you would like John Wyndham. That's
Josh Daly Griffiths, one of my favorites.
Griffiths. Love it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Yanni. Yes, my reading of Pride and Prejudice. Great collections. Jim says, I've read 4 Jane Austens because of BookTube. Last July I skipped it. I liked M.M. Persuasion, but not the others. Romance is not for me either. Stephanie would love to hear Mark reading Halving It All, a short Douglas Adams pastiche, just because of the aliens. Well, maybe I'll give it a go. But then if it's Douglas Adams, I'll probably be penalized for reading it on BookTube, I imagine. I think Northanger Abbey is Austen's funniest book. She had a wonderful sense of humor. Try reading her History of England. It's only a few pages long, and it's hilarious.
My wife read Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, and she said that was excellent. And I've never read it.
It's not a romance book.
Yeah.
It's a thriller mystery.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite of hers, though. I have to say, it was good, but I felt it was quite maybe obvious. I don't know. I
kind of guess too, but
I love Jamaica Inn by Daphne du Maurier. I liked My Cousin Rachel very much, and I have quite a few of them here. Actually, I ended up getting a bulk of them. And her short stories are really good because she did short story The Birds, which of course Hitchcock based his one, and it's quite different. And also Don't Look Now, the film with Julie Christie and Donald Sutherland in Venice. That was really creepy. The film creeps me out, and the short story creeped me out just as much. So
I don't know that film.
You don't know what he's in? I think they've lost their child, and he keeps seeing this little child I can't remember if it's like a little red raincoat or something, and he keeps thinking his daughter keeps passing by.
Is this with Donald Sutherland?
Donald Sutherland, yeah.
I'm usually good with movies, but that one I don't think I'm aware of that one.
No, and they're in Venice. They're on holiday to try and get over this, but then of course it's creepy. Yeah, there's like this old
good
woman
film.
Who's blind. She's got like the glazed over eyes, and she sees.
Boy, yeah, that doesn't ring a bell.
Stories on my Kindle.
Yeah, she's a good short story writer. She has some really good ones. Yes. So Sean said, "Oh, hang on, sorry. I'll go back to where we were. I think Northanger Abbey is Austen's funniest. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, we've been there. City's a collection of short stories, indeed, over a long time span. Elvis might like City. The dogs take over the world.
Yeah.
I hope that's not a spoiler, Jim.
No, well, we'll see. We'll see.
A fix-up novel doing 2 tales a week, 3 the last week with the epilogue. Thought it'd be easy this way if people have lots to read. There's a Voxer group if you want in.
I want in. I can do that.
Sure. Yep.
I have the book. Why not read it?
So there we go. What about you, Alan? Not a sci-fi fan?
Well, I like sci-fi. I'm not well read in it. I love Gene Wolfe. Tommaso Tomadelli books turned me on to him. I like Dan Simmons' Hyperion.
He's a
And-
prolific writer, Dan Simmons.
He
Yeah,
does
I
a
got
lot
some
of genres too.
Yeah, I got some PI novels back here that he wrote, and I'm anxious to delve into those.
He
And I
does.
want to get the terror.
He did an adventure story with
Good
Ernest
horror.
Hemingway.
With
Sorry.
Ernest Hemingway.
He did an adventure story of Ernest Hemingway when he was living in the Key West.
Ah,
I believe it has something. I read it many years ago. Like it's World War II era, I think.
I downloaded his Sherlock Holmes one after we mentioned it last week.
Okay, I have not gotten that one yet.
Was
What
it
was the name of that one?
The Fifth Heart or something?
It's
Or
hard,
the
something like that.
I've got it on order. I'm going to read that.
Yeah, and
Oh.
I got Drood, but I feel I have to read The Mystery of Edwin Drood before I read that. So-
Yeah, I've got it on my shelf. I haven't got around to reading it yet.
I've
I
got
read
Drew.
both at the same time, and I quit reading Drood just because it was.
You didn't like it, Greg?
No. The Mysteries
Oh, of Edwin Drood.
by
So
Dickens.
you're-
Well, that's his complete novel, right? Or it was.
It's incomplete. It's
yeah, I
unfinished.
never finished it.
When he died on.
Yeah.
Drew by Simmons is really good. I
It's
love
pretty
it.
good.
But there
Yeah.
was whole like societies dedicated to the mysteries of Edwin Drood and running court cases and things, and it involved really famous, I think, like George Bernard Shaw and maybe Jerome K. Jerome and other people. No,
Well-
G.K. Chesterton, I think, was involved
Well,
in it, and they were all
taking it-
like, together,
Taking it back to Sherlock Holmes, I think there's a Holmes pastiche where he solves the mystery of Edwin Drood.
Uh-huh.
Taking it back, pulling it back to where Sherlock Holmes, know.
Brilliant.
There you go.
I like Northanger Abbey because the character read Gothic novel. That's right. Yeah, she keeps mentioning Anne Radcliffe's Mysteries of Udolpho. Yanni's asking Sean a question.
Yeah, but I'll read that for Jane Austen July.
Hmm.
I'll make the commitment here and now.
Where are we? I love DeMaurier. Well, you've got very good taste. Jamaica Inn was a great read. Daphne DeMaurier. It's one of my for the FOMO book club last year. It had vibes of Dracula and Wuthering Heights in it. Yeah, I would say there were elements of, especially more Wuthering Heights for me in that. But yeah, City starts with the dogs being in charge, so it's not spoiled. Okay, that's all right then. Yeah, and Yanni lives in the Maurier country. And of course it's the same. I would say the Moors in I think I mentioned this last week, but the Moors in Jamaica Inn are similar to the ones in Hound of the Baskervilles. Yeah, same kind of general geographic area. So
I remember you saying that. Yeah. Yep.
Not North England.
no,
That was an education.
Yeah.
but she's quite, to be honest, she needs her own month. I think, to be honest, Daphne du Maurier does. She's got quite a few, and they're quite different. Yeah, like they're not all.
Maybe we should do that.
What, du Maurier in the Morricember or something?
Jim will have to come up with a title.
Yeah.
December?
December, did you say? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, probably about 12 of them over there, I think. So,
Wow.
mm.
I'm gonna have to read her. I've never read her, so
I haven't been.
It was a fun novel.
I've
It's
not
not
been.
perfect, but it's fun.
yeah. I
I've
hear
not-
good things.
I've not been disappointed. Yes, please do a du Maurier month. Well, there we go. There we go.
Well, we have April in April of Adventure. All right, April, May, June. I know we got to figure out what months.
Oh, it's June on the Range. I was going to say we could have.
Yeah, August, September,
Daphne
maybe.
du Maurier.
Daphne, September. I don't know.
Well, I wanted to bring Dick Timber back at some point. So.
Oh yes, I want to do that too.
I was going to ask you. Yeah, I hope you bring it back. I hope you do it because I'm there for it. Mystery and mayhem and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. definitely. Yeah, we'll have to think about that. Daphne du Maurier and
Du Maurier May. Du Maurier
The
May.
on the bottom, Daphne Sember by N.P. Hunt.
yeah, Daphne Sember. Daphne Sember.
Daphne Sember.
I suppose. I mean, I guess. Yeah. Well, you have March the Mammoths. You have all that stuff where it is the months are in it, right? February, see, June on the Range, Garb, August.
Every
Yeah.
month is taken with something. It's just
Well, what I mean is, do we need the month in the title? But I guess we do.
Du Maurier in May.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be a play on words.
it
Well,
doesn't.
it's too short notice, but we could have had the Maury March.
Du Maurier March. Du Maurier May.
Well, speaking of this, is like we probably should start talking about April and Adventures, just hashing it out. There's people watching,
Yeah.
So
That's true. So we can. We will put Daphne du Maurier on hold. Well, yeah, it could be. That's the thing, Jane Austen. Yeah, that's true. Jane Austen has only a really small number of works, right? And most of us have probably gone through them. So it could be a kind of alternative.
it could be.
True. Yeah.
And there's no connection between Jane Austen and July.
No,
Well,
just Jane Austen. Daphne du Maurier, July.
Maybe
Daphne July Aurier. No. Daphne du Maurier. Oh, that sounds maybe a bit racist.
Du Maurier.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll forget that for now, but it's going to happen.
We'll do it sometime. Let's focus because
April of Adventure. So people
what I
watching
like
this,
is not having real specific prompts.
Yeah.
So I'm just throwing these out. A short form month.
Yeah.
Read something under 200 pages.
Right.
Long form month. Read something 200 pages or more.
Week, Greg. Week.
Week. And then alternate form, like an audiobook or a graphic novel or even a movie.
So, sorry, you said short
story, a short novel, regular novel, then alternate form, and then something else.
Nonfiction.
Nonfiction. Yeah.
That sounds good because I actually have an idea for the alternate form. I'm stealing it from Roy Reads Everything. He was going to do Apes in April. He's going to read King Kong. Because Audible has a free audio version of the Edgar Wallace novelization of King Kong. And I'm thinking, that's an adventure story, isn't it?
For the last week, if you're talking about nonfiction event, you could do Sir Richard Francis Burton. I've got this book, The Life and Adventures of John Nichol Mariner. There's all kinds of stuff out there we could do for that last week. Really like the true, accounts are Dave Farrow do the fictional accounts. Really, when you think about it, like Sir Richard Francis Burton and, exploring Africa, looking for the source of the Nile. I mean, that's the epitome of an adventure story.
Let me just extend, just because you might want to join in. Sean, do you want to come on the live as well? Just say yes, and I'll send you the link. You can join us. But no, I agree with you. I think there's a lot of great stuff. I think as well, it would be kind of fun maybe to have one like we did with The Spy Who Came In From the Cold, one group read.
Well, that's why I was thinking King Kong.
King Kong is the group read.
I don't know. I mean, how difficult would it be to get a copy of the novelization of King Kong? I have the audible for free.
Did Wallace didn't do the novelization? Did he?
Edgar Wallace did the novelization.
Based on the movie, or was the movie based on the book? Okay.
He did the screenplay, or at least
he did the screen. No, I'm sorry. He did this. Did you do the screenplay or the novelization? He might have done the screenplay.
He did the screenplay.
But that's just my idea of what I would do.
King Kong. Okay, something to think about.
Yep. We don't have to
Links
decide
sent.
today. It's just throwing out ideas.
Yeah.
Link sent to Shawnee. Come on there. Frenchman's Creek just finished off the Demori. I think May. Yeah, and he's suggesting. Dorothy says Demori May.
Demori May. Yeah. Dorothy and I are on the same wavelength.
Yeah. I'm currently reading Endymion by Dan Simmons. I was going to say it's not by John le Carré. Bill, what are you doing? It's basically an adventure story. Yeah, there's some wonderful things. I mean, there's a lot of. I think it lends itself. Does it lend itself well to short stories? I mean, I've got the big book of adventure stories.
That's one thing. That's
yeah.
it's shorter form, not necessarily short story.
Right.
Because you can read Edgar Rice Burroughs. You
take it back to the pulp, the pulps, and those were adventure stories.
They were
like so good. Yeah.
Would Doc Savage count as a
Sure he would. Yeah, as an adventure story, yeah.
Yanni says she loves the way we've gone from Jane Austen to King Kong.
I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to cut out pretty soon because I said I got to go feed. I forgot to feed the neighbor's cat this morning. He's fine. He's got dry food, but got to go feed him probably in the next half hour or so.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be super long. I mean, we're coming up to 2 hours. I mean, Sean, if he does pop on, I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour just to discuss August of Adventure. I mean, I've got to take Elvis out again as well. So
sorry, guys.
That's all right.
Sorry, Jim.
But that is kind of cool. Jane Austen to King Kong. Maybe there's a story in that, Greg. I think the wheels are turning in your head, aren't they? A Jane Austen King Kong mashup.
Yeah.
Jane Austen visits Skull Island and he falls in love with his first love.
Yeah.
And that's why she never married, because she was in love with a giant ape.
Yeah, his handler treated him badly.
Yeah. I'm trying to come up with something funny to do with one of the titles of her books.
Maybe Jane Austen was the original Scream Queen.
Uh-huh.
You know?
Yeah, maybe
Tarzan and Jane.
He treated her badly.
I do want to read some more Tarzan, though.
I love Tarzan. That's
the first time I read Tarzan was the first August of Adventure. So
nice.
Yeah,
the perfect adventure right there. The Tarzan stories, like perfect.
I have to read Treasure Island.
And Treasure Island, yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Never even read that.
Oh, you have to read that, Alan.
So you're right. There are so many. There's so many modern ones to look into as well, or more modern ones. I mean, 20th century.
Like Preston and Child wrote like aside from the Pendergast novels, they've written adventure novels. There's one just on my shelf I saw today. You know, when I'm looking through my shelves, a pirate adventure that they did. You know, and then James Rollins is another author who does. You know, he did an inner world novel, kind of like Edgar Rice Burroughs. He does a lot of them. You know, there's so many examples for that month.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Never ending.
Yeah, I'm going to read some Wilbur Smith too. He writes some good pirate adventures.
Oh yeah.
We have one thing, Jim, that I actually think would be good. If I can find it. Here it is.
I lose things on my bookshelf so often.
I don't know. This account is the novelization of Richard Burton, Discovery of the Source of the Nile.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah,
it's long. It's 500 pages or nearly 500 pages. So
he fascinates me as a person. Just I have a couple biographies, but yeah, I'd like to pick that up too. You know,
he's just amazing, man. He just he spoke like 23 languages or something like that.
He could learn a language in like a month or two and speak it like a native, like knew it inside and out. Like he was just an amazing person.
He went on a pilgrimage to Mecca.
Yeah.
Disguised as an Arab.
Yeah, but he went. Hi, Sean. But he went the whole hog as well. So it's not like he just disguised his outer look. He actually.
He knew the prayers and the language. He was.
He got,
If he'd been found out, they would have torn him apart.
yeah,
But
but that's probably why he got it done. But I wouldn't have fancied doing that in the 19th century, even now, to be honest. But hey ho. Hey, Sean.
Hey, Sean.
How you doing, Sean?
Not bad. Yourself?
Good.
I've added you both to the city read along.
Cool.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Do you want to be added, Alan, or?
I won't have time to read it. Yeah. Unfortunately.
No worries.
So we're going with Adventures in April, yeah?
I guess so.
Is it April of Adventures or Adventures in April?
Well, it's up to her, isn't it?
Oh, jeez.
So, Sean, off the top of your head, any not advice, but what do you call it? Yeah. Well, hang on. Let me just pull up Jim's comment. What do you think of some books, Sean, for adventure? Because Jim read what I read, and I was wondering if the other Jim read him because he's Canadian as well. Was the Willard Price Adventure series?
Me? No, I've never heard of him. Never heard of him.
He wrote loads of them.
Really?
Yeah, he was like, and he was quite an interesting bloke as well.
I feel ashamed as a Canadian. Then I've never heard of him. I know Farley Mowat.
Huh.
But
I used to love them. It's like African Adventure, Antarctic Adventure. There's two brothers, and they would go with their dad because their dad had some work somewhere, and they would get involved with all sorts of stuff.
When were they written?
Oh my God, he wrote them from like the 50s to the 80s or something.
Oh God,
he lived a really long time. I have to look it up now.
Well, good for him.
I've heard of them, but I've never read anything.
Huh.
Willard Price, born 1887, Peterborough, Canada, died 1983, California.
Peterborough. I know Peterborough very well.
Yeah, Mark, in Canada, it's Peterborough, and it's not pronounced Peterborough. You pronounce it correctly if you say Peterborough.
Oh, okay. But he's Canadian. Oh, he was American. He was Canadian-born American travel journalist and author, Willard Mill Price. Okay,
I'm gonna have to look into him.
So 1949 to 1980, he wrote the adventure series for kids. So adventure, Sean, off the top of your head, go for it.
Well, we had discussed like to do nonfiction for the next one, but all my nonfiction stuff are still in because they'll eventually be going on shelves, and that's going to be I don't think I'll have anything because I did come across the biography of Burton and his wife. What's it called? Rage to Live, because I want to read that.
Oh.
But yeah, no, I Greg was saying something about, were you talking about something short as well for 1 week, or
we get like this is just my idea. Is first week would be short form, a short novel or a short story or novella, something like that. Next week, second would be long form, which is like an over 200-page novel, and then third would be alternate form, where you just either read like an audio book,
watch a movie,
or something like that. And then the fourth week, someone said is nonfiction.
Yeah, well, the thing, this originally all started because, as you know, the Bookish Bryants is doing November, New World's November, and we were talking together about new things, and I suggested something short stories for adventure, and we would do something like that. So that's where it works for that. But I think we can work out something. But I think that's a good idea is to do it weekly.
Yeah, with weekly lives and the film. I like the idea of watching the film. I might rewatch Mountains of the Moon. Actually, I do like that film. But
I know where that is.
Well, yeah, I ended up having to get it as well. But the what was I going to say? So the short form is under 200 pages, plus or minus.
Yeah.
Right.
Plus or minus.
I mean, if it's 210, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you know, there's no police. It's
Yeah.
a shorter work. Like I said, Edgar Rice Burroughs is usually under 200.
Yeah, or even just even a short story. Could just be a short story if you want. There's enough of them.
The Most Dangerous Game.
Yeah. How many adaptations of that been to film?
Yeah,
I think
great film.
Yeah.
For Alan, it won't be too bad to get Treasure Island, and I don't think that's much over 200 pages.
No,
that's an easy read.
I was thinking about rereading Treasure Island or Kidnapped. I read those a long time ago.
Yeah.
Sorry, just remember you were talking about King Kong.
Right.
I don't know if anybody's put anything up, but Edgar Wallace did the treatment, and then the screenplay was done from that.
Okay.
He did the treatment for it.
There is a novel though. Is there a novel?
There's a novelization.
Yeah.
Movie.
Yeah.
And who wrote that?
Yeah. Is it actually by Edgar Wallace though?
I don't think so. I can tell you in just a minute.
Because he did the treatment. It's like Graham Greene did the treatment for The Third Man. Is it The Third Man? It's not a novel, but it's
Edgar Wallace and
Marion C. Cooper. Now this is the
Marion C. Cooper is the director.
Yeah.
Of the film.
Sorry, they didn't. No, it says King Kong conceived by Edgar Wallace and Marion Cooper, and it says screenplay by James Creelman with Roe Roos, novelized from the radio picture by Delos W. Lovelace.
Yeah.
Of course, there's another novelization too of the later one, the movie in the 70s.
I think that's completely out of print.
I've got that one on my shelf somewhere from that movie, not from the original movie. And then they just they're doing King Kong movies now, and I wonder if they're adapting them to books.
What's interesting, if you ever follow the channel It Came From the Page, what happens is that when they did the movie and they did the novelization, they did not properly copyright the novelization. So when they remade King Kong, there were going to be two versions of that movie. Being whatever you do, what is it? Hollywood about it.
I seem to remember that.
And what happened was one they bought the rights from the screenplay, and the other one says, "Oh, the novelization's public domain. We can just base our movie off that one." And I don't remember which one won.
This was for the 70s movie with Jeff Bridges and Jessica Lange.
There was competing versions to come out in Hollywood, and they had to duke it out to see who got their name.
Interesting. Well, it's a rich vein that we can tap into anyway.
It is.
Well, you mentioned what's the one, the game?
Most Dangerous Game.
Yeah, because the film was usually using the same sets and the backgrounds as King Kong, so there's a connection right there.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
So
that's neat. They did that a lot. They did that for Dracula too. They did Dracula, then they filmed a Spanish version or something, and they refilmed the whole thing in a different language, different actors using the same sets.
Yeah, well, this one, it was similar. It's a different movie, but they used the same everything, because you're watching, you go, wait a minute, I've seen that before.
Yeah.
Well, according to my Amazon, you can buy a Kindle version of the King Kong novelization for $6.99, paperback for $14.25, or if you're a member of Audible, the audiobook is for free.
The original
book. I'm not sure if it's got what it's got in there. I have to look because it's about King Kong, and it might have actually the novel in there because it's not very long. If I remember right, the novel is very short.
Yeah.
My audiobook is 5 hours and 53 minutes.
So it's short.
It's a really short book.
So I have to look. It's upstairs. I'll have to look to see what's in it. I did move it around, but I didn't look into it today because it's been buried. I haven't looked at it for years.
I don't know if you was talking about this. Well, I had to mute you because of something with Elvis, but it said the published date was December 1932, re-released in 1976, and republished and re-released again in 2005. The novelization, so it probably does exist.
Okay.
Doesn't say how long it is.
An idea. I mean, because really, you could watch the movie and then read the novelization and get that down.
I love that original movie. The Ray Harryhausen special effects. I mean, just brilliant. Such a good movie.
I'm not sure if I've seen it. I mean, I've seen like the. I must have seen parts of it because it's one of those kind of cultural things.
It's been here decades.
I remember watching like the thing from beginning to end. So, no, there's a lot of wonderful things to try. Was I thinking of something just then?
Well, there's even because we were doing stuff before, Mark, with regards to radio. There's radio sort of adventure things, so we can bring that in as well.
Yeah,
like the Shadow episodes. I used to listen to Shadow all the time when I was a kid. They had it on Sunday night, and all the Shadow radio episodes.
But but there's even ones of exploring and adventure on ships and stuff like that. There's all sorts of things, and even nonfiction ones as well.
BBC radio play of The Hound of Baskervilles last week. It was really entertaining. While I was doing smart work, just listening to it.
I know. When you speak of radio plays, my community in March, they have like an amateur theater group, and they're going to perform the radio version of the Maltese Falcon.
Wow, nice!
I gotta go see that. I mean,
you can't miss that. That's awesome.
Which version of that? Because there's like 3 of them that they did.
I have no idea. They just said Maltese Falcon, old radio play.
The movie that we know, that was like the 3rd adaptation of the Maltese Falcon. There was
several radio ones from that as well. I think, was a lady was the first one, I think it was, or no, Satan
met a lady.
Satan met a lady. That's it. Yeah, that was the first version of it.
Yeah,
but the best is John Huston's for sure.
And now they have Clive Owen as Sam Spade in the TV series on Acorn TV. Yeah, apparently it's called Mr. Spade or something. I don't know if it's any good or not, but might be worth looking into.
Yeah, I like him as an actor.
Oh, I like Clive Owen.
Is it still set in the 20s, or where is it?
Well, he's a little older. I don't know much about it, but he's not in San Francisco, which is stupid to me. He's overseas somewhere, I think. So I don't know. I don't know what they've changed about the character, but I mean, I like Clive Owen. I think he'd make a good Sam Spade. So I'm gonna have to check it out one of these days.
It's called Monsieur Spade.
Yeah.
So it's an American neo-noir television series. The year is 1963, and the legendary detective Sam Spade is enjoying his retirement in the south of France. By contrast to his days as private eye in San Francisco, Spade's life in Bouzoul is peaceful and quiet, but the rumored return of his old adversary will change everything. 6 beloved nuns have been... Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. Sorry. 6 beloved nuns... Sorry, hang on.
I don't know why you would take Sam Spade out of San Francisco.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
No.
Production costs.
Yeah, well, that's why they filmed The Big Sleep with Robert Mitchum in London. You know, like Philip Marlowe was. You know, L.A. is a character in the Philip Marlowe novels. Why would you take Philip Marlowe out of Los Angeles? It makes no sense.
Yeah, that was an interesting film with Mitchum.
Yeah, well, yeah. Farewell, My Lovely was better. It was more true to the novel, you know, in the setting. But sorry, Mark, you were reading
Well,
your
I guess
synopsis.
partly it's because he's probably in the public domain, isn't he, Sam Spade? So it's probably a pastiche.
I don't think so.
I don't know if it's based on a book.
I looked on Project Gutenberg for Sam Spade and Raymond Chandler, like the hard-boiled PI. I don't think he's in the public domain as of
He is
yet.
in Canada.
Oh, he's definitely in Canada.
Oh, he is in Canada. Oh.
Canada has Raymond Chandler.
Ah, okay.
Canada has very lax copyright.
Yeah.
No, they don't have lax. They have a more reasonable copyright.
But I couldn't go take a Raymond Chandler novel and do a cover and an introduction and upload it to Amazon, though. Even though I'm in Canada.
You could Amazon Canada.
Amazon Canada.
Only.
This is for sale in Canada only.
Oh,
or any country that has the same rules.
Right. You could not do it in the United States.
Yeah.
well, there you go. Huh.
Mark, I have an answer for a comment. Dorothy Satterfield asks, I'm going to pull that one up.
Yeah, I will. Hang on a second. Is it this one? Richard Burton's.
It says, I remember reading The Most Dangerous Game.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
She says, and then the one about the army ants.
Yes. Yeah. Lenogen versus the
Short
ants.
story, Linogen and the Ants.
Love that story. Love that.
That's a good one to read for. If I could, I saw it on the internet once, posted on a page. It's one of those stories where I don't think they know the copyright status. You know.
Yeah.
Well, that's the same with a lot of radio ones. They're sort of orphan,
Right.
Orphan copyright because they don't know, and if anybody comes along and says it, but you know, people have said that they've owned the transcription discs, so therefore they own the copyright. And it's like you can own the manuscript of a book, but you don't own the copyright to it.
Well, it's complicated now. You may not remember it, but back in the early aughts, Doc Savage and The Shadow, all their books were in public domain. I bought a disc, and all those books are contained on it. And it was published by a group called The Black Mask.
Mm.
Yeah,
And then Condé Nast magazine says, no, we own the copyright.
Oh boy.
It came a dispute, and the guy went to bat saying, no, it's public domain. And he lost. So his whole website got taken down.
Because the Doyle estate did that too for the longest time with Sherlock Holmes. Like the later Sherlock Holmes stories weren't in public domain. I don't know how you differentiate the later from the earlier, but yeah, they took a lot of people to task for that.
Well, I think the problem with the Condé Nast thing is because they owned Street and Smith. They bought out Street and Smith, like Astounding and Analog. But then they own when they bought stories for people, they bought the copyright from the person. So does the copyright for a corporation, is that as long as the corporation is in existence, do they still own the copyright, even though the person died 100 years ago?
They lost. He lost the lawsuit, but H.P. Lovecraft was under a similar thing, where Arkham House renewed the copyright based on their books. The problem is the way it was written. They copyrighted their book collection, not the actual short stories.
Yeah,
that's why it became H.P. Lovecraft is actually in public domain because Arkham House only owns the copyright to the individual collection story.
And isn't there something to do with like the character's name, like Tarzan, for instance? I think Dark Horse was doing Tarzan stories, but they couldn't use the name Tarzan in the title, even though inside the book they could. Like there's little nuances to the whole thing, which I don't understand.
I don't know.
And you can renew copyrights, but does it not? I guess eventually you can't renew copyrights anymore. It just goes in the public domain regardless, right?
Well, that's as I understand it, and I'm not a lawyer here. It used to be when you published a book, you got a copyright for 20 years. And then you'd see copyright renewed in a lot of publications.
Well,
And
this
then-
is why you see some works by people like Philip K. Dick in Project Gutenberg, because they just didn't renew the copyright after the
Right.
elapsed.
And they were alive and they let it lapse. So that's in public domain. But if you look at something like Do Androids Dream of Electronic Sheep, that's still in copyright.
Yeah, well, there's people have tried other things. John Clare, the poet, he died in 1867. A lot of his stuff has never been published, but it finally was. An American scholar bought basically for $1 the manuscripts, donated the manuscripts to actually Northamptonshire Public Library, but he says he owned the copyright. So when they put out these 10 volumes of his poetry, Oxford University Press, he said he owned the copyright to him, but he died in 1867 thereabouts, and everybody was afraid of breaking this. But Faber and Faber started, I think it was them, started putting out collections using that material and said, sue us. And they didn't. And because I don't think that could ever work, because his idea was that it was never published, so therefore it was never copyrighted until now. But
He might actually have a case on that. I mean, I don't know. Got to be a copyright lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's some weird thing with the thing as well, that it doesn't actually have to be published, but the fact it's been written and put down on paper at a certain time, it's been published.
Yeah, it's
but
been copyrighted. Yeah.
There's problems in America. I remember reading something as well over letters, historical letters. Like you cannot take a letter by John Adams. It's somehow still copyrighted. It's not in the public domain. And I can't remember how the people themselves got around this kind of thing. You know, I was like, oh, but it is interesting. But one just thing, you guys probably were aware of it, but after all this time, I had no idea Dashiell Hammett's real first name was Sam.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So
better than Bob.
They got brutally murdered, Yanni. They were
well, speaking of that, I have to go feed my neighbor's cat Dash. So
Dashiell.
I don't know if he's named after Dashiell. I don't think there's the hard-boiled type, but I got to go take care of that cat. So
yeah, I think we'll stop the live for now, and then we'll just head to the green room, and then I've got to go soon as well. I've got to call home. So all right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for popping on, Sean, and we'll see everybody next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah,
thanks everyone.
Bye.